Welcome back, folks. We are here with our review for episode 3 of Percy Jackson. We just finished watching the episode and did our hour and a half reaction.
Yeah.
So, we like to keep these separate so it's not too long of a video. So this is our this is our review kind of discussion of the episode overall.
Yeah.
So Nate, how you feeling about episode 3 of Percy Jackson?
Well, like you said in the beginning of the show, uh, I, I'm really getting like into it, and I like this episode because like we were pausing and discussing it or whatever, and then they kind of come up with the resolution almost, well, within the episode, So the one that parts that stands out to me is like I was like um, yelling at Grover for
Right.
not handling his business when he should have been, uh, at Annabeth for being too pushy, and at Percy for being kind of whiny, not
Mhm.
whatever. And they explained almost all of it, also the fact that she didn't tell them straight up that you know, uh, they had made a deal. They tried to make a
Mhm.
deal with her, um, but I like that. I like that they handled it instead of like ignoring it and be like, oh, whatever, it is what it is, sort of thing. No, they handled it. Grover stood up, was like, I thought maybe it was like keeping the peace, which is
Right.
was the thing. No, it's not, and I'm glad he came to realize that you. That's not how you keep the peace. That is how you make things worse. Get people to talk about things, get it out in the open, find understand what's going on, find common ground, and that's what he did. Like we were saying, like literally, that he knows both of them better than the other two know each other. You know,
Right.
so he needs to be using that, which is exactly what he did. Shut up, Percy. That is her hat. That's the only thing that she's got that keeps her. That's that was given to her from her mom. Shut up, Annabeth. His mom got taken away. Why you tripping that he's trying to go save her? Sort of thing.
Right.
Like he laid it out, and I very very much appreciate that. That makes me like him 100 times more. Where he's just
Yeah.
willing to just. I mean, granted, he did have to be pushed there, but sometimes that needs to happen because you don't really know. Um, but yeah, I definitely like
Yeah.
that. What'd you think?
It was so sad about his Uncle Ferdinand. He's like, "Yeah, he went on this journey, his quest he went on." And he was like, "This is all the far he got?"
Yeah, that's sad,
He's
right?
like, "He didn't even reach Trenton, New Jersey.
Yeah, my
Didn't
goodness.
even leave New Jersey." I'm like, "Oh, geez, that was sad." But, yeah, no,
That
I
is
think it was a good
sad.
episode. I did also appreciate that they did address some of the things that were being annoying. Like, they
Yeah.
didn't act like they weren't happening, which
Right.
I did appreciate. So,
Yes. Yep.
these are kids. They're going to be annoying. They're gonna make stupid decisions just because, 1, sorry, that's how kids are. But 2, like, that's how these shows work, right? Like,
Right.
people
Yeah.
in the beginning just fumble around and make stupid
Right.
decisions and do dumb stuff, and it's
Right.
like, that's just how these things go.
Mhm.
I always prefer when people make the right decision
Mhm.
and it's not enough,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
prefer that to, like, doing stupid stuff and it's causing problems.
Right.
I prefer you like, "You know what? I think we should do this, and it's a good thing to do, and it makes sense,
Mhm.
but it didn't work."
Right.
Right?
Mhm.
Because that happens, right?
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Um, like, especially, like, with, like, scary movies, I prefer people do the right thing versus, like, run towards the monster or run upstairs
Yeah.
and then,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah, like, why they don't that's stupid, right?
I mean, they ran into the
Yeah,
basement, which wasn't a smart idea, but
no.
I understand that they couldn't go outside, but, like, trapping yourself, but maybe they were thinking, "Let's
Yeah.
trap her." I don't know, I
But
don't think they
again
were thinking that.
again, maybe they were like, "Look, we're gonna lure her down here and murder her."
Right.
Which seems to be what happened. Which let me just get back to saying, like, I guess, like, I know it's a show for kids, which is why there's not the blood and stuff,
Right,
right?
yeah, mhm.
But I think it also, to me, then kinda trivializes, like, them actually, like, killing,
Right.
right? Like, she was like, "Well, I killed her sister," right? I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's right, you did throw that dagger and, like, killed this thing," right?
Right, yeah, yeah,
And it was
mhm.
just like, "Alright, it's dead, like, keep moving," right? Like,
Yeah.
that's not normal,
No.
behavior, right? Like, especially
They're
for these
just brushing it
kids,
off, yeah.
right? Like, how many has Annabeth actually killed, right? We
Yeah.
know they ran and they got chased and that their friend got turned into a tree and they got into the camp, but, like,
Mhm,
has she been she's never been on a quest before,
mhm.
seemingly. So I don't know how many she's actually killed of anything. They've had those mock battles at camp, but, like,
Right.
killing something is different, right?
Right, I don't know,
And
she
Percy seems to not really be, and again, this doesn't have to be
phased by it?
yeah, this doesn't have to be some, like, dark show, but, like, he's got no lingering effects of killing that minotaur and his mom
Right.
is dead, right?
Yeah,
Like, that's a lot to deal with.
that's
And
what
then
I'm
you just
saying,
literally chopped off Medusa's head, right?
right?
And yeah, you couldn't see her. There's
After
no
you thought you
blood.
could trust her.
Yeah, like, you convinced them to go in there and eat her food and talk to her, and then you're
Mhm.
like, "Oh, she wants to kill my friends? Dead." And then you
Right.
just chop off her head and then go pick up the head and walk around with it and use
Yeah,
it to kill this other thing.
and then send it to Olympus, like, I all of this is really just what?
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
I don't
he's got some
yeah, it's just I
cojones,
don't
you know?
like, yeah, I don't understand that level of confidence. It
Right.
doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, me right now, if I had to kill someone,
Mhm.
monster or kill anything
Right.
of that, like, if it's not an ant, if you said, "Hey, snap that deer's neck because it's getting ready to
Mhm.
kill us," like,
Right.
that would be crazy to me, like, like, I wouldn't feel good about that, you know? I'm not used to killing things, I'm
Right,
just
yeah.
not. Some people
Mhm.
do, some people hunt and they kill stuff all the time, it's different
Right.
for them.
Yeah.
He's not from that kinda life, he's from the suburbs, like, or the city, he
Mhm.
doesn't be killing stuff, so,
Right.
to kill something is a lot for humans to do,
Yeah.
and, like, whatever, like, she's
Yeah.
dead, I mean, now I'm gonna pick up the head of this thing I just killed, not this
Yep.
thing, this person, because you were
Yeah.
talking to them,
Right.
and then use it to, like, murder this other thing who you've talked to before, who was one of
Mhm.
your teachers, right? Murder her,
Yeah.
carry the head back. I don't know. And I was also just curious why they were so concerned. I mean, I guess they're trying to be responsible, but like they were so concerned about someone else coming and using the head against or like in some like nefarious way.
Well, I could see that, yeah, because they were trying to be not respond yeah, they don't want that to come back and bite them, but then they sent it to Olympus, which means
Right.
it's obviously gonna come back and bite them,
But also like why do you assume anyone is gonna come and like find the head like anytime soon? Right? Like
Well, it
who
doesn't have to
knows
be, like, you if you
who
know
knows
this
she's dead?
yeah, but if
Like
you know the
just
story of
bury it somewhere.
Medusa yeah, but if you know the story of Medusa, if they come there, there's no longer someone living there, so she's not paying rent or something, somebody gonna come there and be like, whatever, and then all of these statues of these, people, if it's a mythical person, they're gonna assume this is Medusa, right? I mean, it's got a bunch of stone statues of human beings, so like or creatures and humans, so I could imagine that someone who had an intellect and was in that kind of world or knew about it would know, oh, be like, let's see if we can find it, you know. Maybe they got some kind of way of locating mythological
I
things. So
guess. I'm like, "Look, just bury it. You don't gotta bury it and make it invisible. Just bury it somewhere and leave, and if someone finds it eventually, it's not your problem."
I don't think if you were gonna bury it, I would not bury it with the cap on it because you could cause an accidental death because like they wouldn't know that there's a cap on it and accidentally knock it off while
Right, well,
pulling it
yeah,
off
it
and
just
then
seems crazy to me. Yeah,
yeah, I
like,
wouldn't do that.
to your point, put it in a bag, bury it somewhere,
Mhm.
burn the house down, I don't know, whatever, then just
They
roll
should
out,
have just
like
burned it. Like if you want to,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, just burn
also
it.
that, just burn it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I don't know why I don't know, it seems so weird to me. You're like, "Okay, let's just mail it you know, to Olympus." I don't
That's
know,
like an extra step of fu. Like that's kind of
yeah,
what I'm
it's
getting, and
yeah,
I
and
don't know why.
it just all just feels so just so callous to what just like, you literally just I can't say it enough, like, you literally just murdered this woman.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Medusa, but, like, what?
Yeah.
And they're all like, "Alright, we'll continue the quest. Let's go."
Well, you know what? Actually, that makes me think. To your point, they did do a pretty good job of. Well, until the end, they did do a pretty good job of questioning whether having us question whether Medusa is a good person or a bad person. With her whole monologue
Yeah.
thing. So
Which we still don't know.
We still don't know, yeah, but
right?
they brought
Because
it up.
she
Yeah.
was like, "Look, like, you really wanna get to you can help your mother, you know, I can take care of them for you, and then you can continue on your quest." Like, we don't
Mhm.
know how truthful or helpful she was trying to be or not. Like,
Right,
they gave
yeah.
us no further information until
Right.
she then next thing we know, she's dead.
Right, yeah. Which I totally did not expect her to die. I mean, I know in the movies in the movie that I think he did kill her. I think I remember that, but I mean, they could have avoided it, I suppose, if you
Yeah,
wanted to
I
write
mean
it that way,
right,
but
and they made it seem like they were gonna take the character in a different direction,
yeah, yeah,
or at least
exactly.
make it a little more complicated, but
Mhm.
no,
Yeah,
they're like, "Oh, it's Medusa, so she's gotta die, so cut her head
right.
off." But this also makes me go back and wonder, like we were asking before, like, how does this Percy Jackson fit into the mythology of Perseus, right?
Yeah, I don't
Is
know,
it the
yeah.
same person or not? Like, how does this work? Because
Is it like history
Perseus
repeating itself
right,
or
because Perseus already killed Medusa.
right.
And so if
Mhm.
this is literally Medusa, then what's
Mhm.
she alive for?
Right, yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, there's no
I
we
was
don't
like,
have a
maybe it's just another Gorgon, right? And it's not
mhm.
Medusa. But then
Right,
why
yeah.
the M?
Right.
And then
No,
and
she
but
she said it was
well, yeah,
Medusa.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And she's talking about Athena and all this stuff. So I'm like, wait,
Yeah, I had the same question.
I don't understand how this is supposed to be working,
I don't either.
right? Because these stories already happened.
Right.
So what are we talking about?
Right.
I don't get it.
Yep.
I don't know.
I do
I don't know.
not disagree.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it was yeah, I mean, it was a fun episode. I'm sad that Karen, what's her real name? Megan Mullally, is that her name? That played I forget what
Yeah.
monster she played. I forget the name, but
I
seems
thought
like
she
she's
was a
actually
Fury. It's not
gone
a
now.
Fury?
A Fury? Well, she's a monster, but yeah, I think she's specifically supposed to be a Fury, but
Oh,
a
right.
type of monster.
Mhm.
They're all monsters,
Yes.
whatever monster means. Um, yeah, I'm sad she's gone already because she didn't really do
Yeah.
very much.
She didn't.
Like honestly, that could have almost been anybody.
Mhm.
I don't yeah, I don't know why.
She might come back to life. I mean, she did break her
She
wing, but
right, she kinda has to come back to life, I feel like, because why else use her? Because that was such a nothing
yeah, it's like a cameo,
role.
right?
Yeah, like, for what? Same thing with Lin-Manuel. I think we'll see Hermes later. I think he's Hermes. I think we'll see more of him just
Oh, is
because
that's his name? I don't know.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. You don't know him?
I mean, not off the top of my head. Why? Where's he from?
Oh. I mean, he did Hamilton, that's one thing, but
Didn't see that.
he's been different. He was in, his Dark Materials. I forget his name,
Haven't seen that.
but he's been in other stuff. But yeah,
Okay.
I mean, he wrote the music for Moana and some other stuff, but anyway.
I have seen that, but I
Yeah,
didn't
so
know he
that
wrote
music is
music to
him.
it. Okay. Good to know. All right.
But yeah, so I don't know, anything else that stood out to you this episode? Um,
I mean, I don't know. Like I do I like the fact that they built up like I was saying, I just like the fact that they built up frustration and then they kind of explained it, you know? So um those are the things that I like about it. And
yep, cards all on the table, it seems
exactly. And
now for
then
the most
Percy
part.
right, yeah. And then Percy was explaining because we were like I said, we were like, Why are you being such a like a jerk?" Like, she's trying to tell you this is what we should do. You over here. I mean, again, to me, you got a good point. Like, you're not the shot caller. But also, if she's giving good ideas, don't be a jerk. Like, go with it, sort of thing. But then because it's something I'd forgotten until he said it. He's like, you wanted, the Oracle said my friend will betray me, and I was like, okay, yeah, that actually makes sense. Like,
Right.
he
But
doesn't want to follow because he's afraid that she is going to turn,
right.
her
Which to
back
me
on him.
seems counterintuitive, right? Like you're afraid someone's gonna betray you. And
Hmm.
they specifically said someone that calls you friend, right?
Hmm.
So you intentionally bring Grover because he's a good friend to you. I'm like, friend. So to me, I'm like, the suspicious person is Grover, right? That because Athena, not Athena, Annabeth isn't like you guys aren't friends, right? So I'd be more
No,
scared of him, given the Oracle said friend.
I would not, given the way the oracle spoke, and I think that's usually what you usually have to do when listening to these oracles, like like in the Matrix. You have to listen to what it is that they're saying and how they say
Right.
it, rather than what it is, rather than what you kind of hear on the offset. He said the oracle says very specifically, at least as this is what I'm understanding, that calls you friend. He didn't
Right.
say whom you call
Right.
friend, right? So I would assume yes, it would either be um Grover, who already betrayed you, to be honest. That's I mean, I'm just being serious. I know people probably like, oh, Nate's holding on to a
It's a
grudge. I'm
strong
not
word.
holding on to a grudge,
You
but
really
like
are, though.
he
You really
really
are.
he really did betray him. Like, dude, you couldn't find any other way. You couldn't just come up and tell me afterwards or something like that. You really had to. I can't trust you, sort of thing. And then also you're a goat now, and I didn't know that, and you didn't say anything. I really just can't trust you. You're like, this is how I feel about it.
Not a
Anyways,
goat, he's a satyr.
I was
Come on
satyr. I
now.
mean, well, he didn't know he was a satyr when he saw the goat legs. He was like, why you have goat legs to get out of here? Anyways, so there's that. And then the other guy that's at camp, right? Those are the
Mhm.
people whom he calls friends. But anybody, including Grover, could call him friend,
Right,
right?
which is why I think it's neither of them, right? I think there's someone still that's going to call him friend that's gonna betray him. I don't think it's either one
That
of these
could
2.
be. That could
That's
be,
that's
but
that's what I'm thinking. I think it's someone we haven't met yet that's going to befriend him,
mhm,
right, and kind of gain
okay,
his trust and then betray him. I don't think it's either
that
one of
could
these
be.
2.
I don't think it's gonna be Annabeth. I don't. I think it's gonna be her brother, but I forgot his name. That's my theory. But also, you could be correct because we don't know if he's going to make friends.
Yeah, because, it could be Hermes. I don't know. Hermes could be like, "Hey, I'm your friend. I'm here to help you," right? And
Mhm.
then betray him.
I mean, yeah.
It could be almost anybody, right? But I don't
Yep.
think it's either of these 2,
Yeah. I
personally.
don't think it's either of these 2 either. I don't think so.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably going to be someone like he's going to end up trusting maybe over these 2. That's going
Mhm.
to cause the problem.
Yep.
So
He's gonna be stupid, which I mean, it's just how these things
it's
go.
inevitable. Yeah, exactly.
It's how these things go. They do stupid stuff, and then we're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, what are you doing?"
You had made this point too that you would prefer that they make a good call or a good decision, but it's the wrong call. One thing that I hate, and I can't control this, but one thing that I hate is when people make obviously stupid decisions and it works out.
Oh yeah, that's terrible.
I hate that with a passion.
Mhm.
I feel like what it does, and I could be wrong, but I feel like what it does is just teaches people to be impetuous and unthinking. You know, I feel like you make the best call that you know how. I do recognize that in life, quite often, not quite often, but sometimes more often than you would like, you do things and you don't know why. Like sometimes you'll just do it and you'd be like, why did you do that? Um, I don't know. Like sometimes I acknowledge that sometimes that happens. I don't know why. But when you are in a phase of a crisis, right? And you need to make an intelligent decision, and you're like, yeah, you were talking about like the like horror movies and stuff like that, and you're gonna go run upstairs, for example, or
Or
something
what's
like
that
that.
noise? Let's
Like,
go check it out. I'll go
yeah,
by
like,
myself.
yeah, this don't. But then it ends up like working out something, I don't know. Like I don't like that. I really don't like that. I think it's a trope, and yeah. So, anyways, I just want to share
Yeah,
that.
agree. I have a hard time with that, even with like kids and stuff. Like I probably think too much about like um trying to not teach the wrong lesson, right?
Hmm.
And so like say a kid is whining and begging for something, right?
Hmm.
I feel like I have to say no,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't want you to think, "Oh, this tactic worked.
Right.
so I got what I wanted,
Right.
right? That's not
Mhm.
what happened, right? I made an independent decision, not
Mhm.
based off what you did. But do
Right.
you know that? You might think, okay, so next time I'm do it again because this is how I get what I want. I don't want to teach you that. Now, again, and a lot of times, you know, kids aren't really thinking about it that deeply or remembering, right?
No, and they have a hard time remembering,
Right,
yeah.
and so really, I'm not doing anything
Right.
but saying no
Mhm.
when I could have just said yes
Mhm.
sometimes, right? But I'm afraid I'm sending the wrong message ultimately about consequence of what to do. When sometimes it's like, look, it's
But
they're
kids
not
are very associative, even if they're not
right.
thinking that
Yeah,
clearly.
for
So
sure.
they should not if you were going to give it to them and then they started whining or complaining or something like that, I think it's totally legit to be like, no, at least not now. I will not give you this because I do not want you to associate that bad behavior with this kind of reward out of the question. You know, I I don't mind associating I give you this just because I want to give it to you, but not necessarily because you did some excellent behavior or something like that, just because I wanted to, but I will not give it to you while you're over here throwing a tantrum because I don't want you to think this is me giving into you or life giving into you. No, 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 no. So I understand that, but I also think that we work with the best knowledge that we have,
Yeah.
so we don't always know how.
Yeah. Well, any other predictions? I think we talked about one thing. I think that was Hermes. That's one of my predictions. I
Okay.
think we'll see. I
Hmm.
mean, it makes sense as he was delivering the package.
Right.
I think so. I don't think either of them are gonna betray him. Are you agreeing with that?
I agree
You agree
with
with that?
that.
Yeah,
Yes.
we think
Hmm.
so. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. All right. So who do we think we're gonna see next episode? Do they give us any indication about any other creatures or gods we think we'll see? I don't know. I mean, do you think we'll see Zeus? I don't know because Hermes went to Olympus, so
I mean,
maybe
that might start kind of like a war rain down on Percy's head, which again, dude, he was like he is impertinent. Is that what he said? He's like he is impertinent, dude. You already are miles away from your destination. You don't know how you're going to get there, and you have Furies coming after you. And so your best thought, it's hey, let's provoke the
right.
gods to come
Yeah.
attack me.
Now again, they could view it as tribute. They could potentially.
Mhm.
They could also get pissed off about it. You
Yeah,
don't know which one. And again,
or you could just send a note.
you're thinking, "Oh, this is the safest place to put it is with them. They can keep
Mhm,
it safe versus down here."
mhm.
Sure, but again, I just don't think an immediate threat is someone finding that head and using it against you,
Oh, it's not
right?
immediate,
Like,
right,
you know what I mean?
yes.
Like, yeah, I'm like, maybe someday someone will find it, sure, but
Mhm.
for now, like, bury it, come back and deal with that later, continue the quest. Like, it's not that
Uh,
serious right
that would
now.
be hard to remember, I think if
They they
you
they they remember that where they buried it, or at least that they did bury it, right?
or
Like,
maybe they've forgotten that with, the amount of people they're gonna be killing on their journey. Like,
right, all the
by time
murders.
yeah, like, by
Like,
time
who
they
was
get to
that
the
first
end.
murder we committed? I know I'm saying murder, but I want you to know, like, they did murder. They did murder.
They
It was
took
for a
her
good
out.
cause,
Mhm.
maybe, but they did commit murder, and they're good with that. These murderous children. This Disney show, they're just like, but I mean, it's funny how that does kind of, it is very much of a child's show to not have like the consequences of murder. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because if you think about
yeah.
like how many people get killed off in like cartoons and stuff, it's like,
Mhm.
oh whatever, like it's all good. Like
Yeah.
there's not usually like a man, like these people are dead.
Right,
It's like
yeah.
when they're gone, like no
Yep.
blood, like they're just dead, and it's
Yeah,
who it's
yeah,
all
yeah.
happy and just keep continuing, right? But it's like shoot, like y'all were murking folks, like this is serious. it's, it's all good. It's
Yep,
all good. So I guess we'll see who else gets murdered next episode.
I guess.
Woo! Maybe we start keeping a body count for each
A
episode.
body count.
How many murders
A
episode?
tally.
This one, I think this episode we had 3 murders, right? We had, the 2
3.
Furies and
Mhm.
then the 1 Gorgon/Medusa, so that's
Yeah.
3.
Yep.
3 murders in episode 3. I think I'm gonna keep this up and keep track of the murders. I know I keep saying murder so much triggered. I keep saying murder,
Go
not deaths. Murders. They were murdered.
I just can't. We can't put that on YouTube.
We need so graphic. Every time someone gets murdered, just gonna come up with like a hash mark.
We should do
Flawless victory. Get a little Mortal Kombat clip each time.
that. No, it's a fatality.
Oh man. I won't have it for episode 4, but episode 5, I might have something for us. Fatality. Oh, that's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be perfect.
Oh, that would be hilarious. Oh my goodness.
Let us know, folks, if you want to see
I honestly don't
mark
care
the
what you
murders.
think we're doing.
We're doing this. At the very least, we'll give you a murder tracker for the in the review. Some kind of graphic. Go back and chart the murders per episode. I love it. I love it. Look, we gotta keep it interesting. We gotta keep it interesting. These are weighty things happening. I know. Not let these kids forget all of the murder.
Oh wow, yeah, okay.
All right. Anyway, look.
So is it going to be like since they've started their quest, or like?
I don't know. I'll probably just do it in the episode. I'm not gonna. Again, we'll go back and do like the whole like Excel graphical chart over the whole season. That's too much work. But we'll track it per episode. How many murders? It might get a little bit difficult once we get in some of these battles, but we'll try.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll be like fiercely counting hash marks. That's a lot of Furies getting murdered.
They might not be as strong as you thought they were.
Ugh.
I don't know why that is so funny.
Y'all, Nate needs some help. That he finds murder so funny means something is definitely wrong. Something is definitely up with this guy. Everybody, let's get prayer emojis in the comments for Nate.
Oh
my goodness.
Okay. Oh geez.
Y'all, we're gonna head out, give Nate a chance to get himself together.
Yeah.
But as always, thanks for watching. Make sure you like.
Oh wait, we didn't rate the
subscribe.
episode. Oh god.
What was that?
We didn't rate the episode, I think.
Oh, rate the episode. I mean, look.
I'd give it a 6, I think, maybe a 7.
Oh, so I gave episode 2 a 7/8. I think, man, 8 feels high.
Yeah,
I think
that's
2.
why,
I think 2.
yeah.
I gave 7/8 just because I felt like it was so much better than 1.
Yeah.
But this one, I think if it felt averagey, I'm gonna say 7. I'm gonna say 7.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's legit.
7.
All right.
7 out of 10. For those
Yeah,
that
out
don't
of
know
10.
the scale we're using. They're like 7?
7 out of 100.
Out of what? Out of 5? What is this? 7 out of 10.
It was 7 out of 100.
Like, oh, 7. That sounds pretty good. Out of 100. 7% rating. We would have haters for sure.
We don't like anything.
You guys, if you don't know, once Nate gets laughing, everything is hilarious, and there's no stopping it. There's no stopping it.
Okay, we gotta end real quick. I can't stop.
He can't do it. He can't do it. Alright, folks. We'll see
Okay.
you next time.
Bye.